Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Diaphone. Today we're going to be doing a complete option select guide. So we're going to be covering all the different types of option selects in Melty Blood, how to do them, when to do them, and which ones you should learn first. Let's talk about what an OS is. So it's a powerful tool that occurs when you input a series of inputs, and this can lead to several different outcomes depending on how the characters interact. Sounds pretty complicated, but you've probably done this in the past without knowing it. So for example, take Saber. If I'm doing 2C in neutral, you see how nothing comes out? But on block, the 2C goes into the 5C. This is a very basic option select that we call a buffer, and it's in literally every single fighting game I've played. The same series of inputs, double tapping C twice, gives me 2C, 5C on block. Now, there's tons of option selects, and should you learn them? Well, I personally love option selects. I think they take away some of the mental burden, allowing you to focus on more of the mind game aspect of the game. It lets you cover multiple options at the same time, and it rewards your game knowledge. But it's not for everyone, especially if you're new. If you're new, I recommend learning some of the basics of the game first. So for example, learning how to use the system mechanics, for example, learning when to use heat up, learning when to moon drive, getting consistent combos and doing good Oki. That will all give you better benefit than learning an option select. But if you're a tournament player or you're trying to take this game competitively, then you need to learn these option selects because people at the highest level are going to be doing some of the option selects here in the guide. And I think as the game evolves, people are going to start doing more and more option selects. So I think as a tournament player, you need to do them, or at the very least understand how they work and how to counter them. One other preference before we start, if you want to know how to practice these, make sure you do a dummy recording. You put the dummy on record it, and that way you know it's unbiased, and if they block, you see it comes out, and that way you know you're getting the correct input for sure. So let's get into the option selects. So the first one we'll cover is the Shield OS. This is probably the most popular and most common, and for good reason. I think it's really strong. The idea being that you can whiff cancel an A normal into Shield, right? You can also whiff cancel into like a different normal, but in this situation we're going to cancel in the Shield. And because you can do that, for example, if the opponent does a heat up, which makes your 2A whiff, then you can just cancel into Shield and then Shield the heat up, right? I recommend doing A into A plus D. Now block it looks like that, right? So let's record it with the dummy. And so on block, you get that, right? And then on whiff, you get a shield, and that means you get a full punish, and that's like at least 3k damage with Saber, right? When do you use this option select? Well, basically after any knockdown. So you would use it like right here, and if they heat up, you get the shield to come out. The other thing to keep in mind is some people will say do A and then B plus D. I don't recommend that. One, because I think A's or 2A's are really strong in pressure. The other thing is that if you do like an A then B, you have to go into C after. And if they're doing something like a delayed heat, because again, you're trying to bait out heat here, then they'll just burst on that. So if you go straight into 2A, 2B, 2C, and they burst on the 2B or something like that, then it'll be harder to bait it out. And you see how that whiffs, right? But if you go into AA, you can actually just react to the heat because it's slower because they're in block stun. This also works after a safe jump too. So for example, if I'm doing C and then I hit shield, or if I do any jump normal and then I hit shield, you see how on block it doesn't come out. And then if the jump in normal whiffs, see how the shield comes out. Let me show you what this looks like in actual match situation. See how the shield comes out, and then you get a full punch. So really, really good. Recommend using this OS. It's actually super easy to do. You're literally just tap shield. So you can also do this instead of optionally selecting a shield from a jump. You can also do it to beat a backdash, right? So one of the most common counters to Heat OS is the opponent will just do a backdash on wake up. And assuming you time your melee, right? The shield will come out and they'll be safe, right? So how do you beat this? Well, there's actually another OS you can do. Instead of pressing the D button, you just press the 2C button, right? So let me show you what this looks like after a safe jump. the 2C caught him, and then you literally get a full combo, right? And then on opponent hit or opponent block, you see how the 2C is not coming out, right? So you literally just press it at the same time as the Shield OS, do a 2C instead of a 2D. So both these OSs are really useful. And then of course on the ground, you don't really need to OS. You can literally just go into like a 2C. So you can just do something like that. So on a knockdown, it's not really an OS, you just kind of always go into something that will catch backdash. Alright, so let's talk about fuzzy options. So fuzzies are basically like a delayed timing, and there's a couple of really important fuzzy timings you can do here. So let's say Saber gets you in the corner and they mix you up between empty jump low. Although let me do it like a delayed timing. Or they go for a delayed air dash, right? So I set the dummy to do 3 recordings, one for a mistimed blow, one for a safe jump, and one for an air dash mix. And it's actually an option that beats all 3, and it's called what we call a fuzzy mash. So what you do is you just basically hit a delayed jab. And because the overhead and the low hit at 2 different times, you'll hit them out of the low and you'll hit them out of the air dash, but you'll actually block the safe jump. You see how I blocked that, right? You see how I hit him out of the air dash, right? Because the air dash happens at delayed timing. And you see how I hit him out of the low too. So it doesn't really take much it's not like I'm reacting to the low. It's not like I'm reacting to the air dash. I'm just pressing a jab at a set time. So definitely recommend doing this. This will catch a lot of people's sloppy offense, right? And there is ways to beat this. So for example, Saber can do like an early air dash. And let's say I'm trying to fuzzy mash, then I get hit. So there are ways to do it. If you have the safe jump really meaty too, it can be kind of hard to fuzzy mash, and that's kind of what I rely on, because you can like do empty jump throw and that might be fuzzy mash. There are good ways to beat it, but fuzzy mash is really strong. There's also a couple other fuzzy options. One of them is fuzzy jump. I don't think fuzzy jump's very good because you can just chain your lows, but the way fuzzy jump is done is you do like it's called like a 171. You go hold down back, the flick up forward, and then you hit down back. Fuzzy jump's pretty bad in this game. I'm trying to figure the situation you do it in, but honestly there's like no situation because these lows are chainable, and if you're trying to fuzzy jump you just get blown up, and pretty much everyone chains lows. So if you want to jump, you're honestly just kind of better off just jumping on reaction. I think defensive jumps can be good, so like a Saber's doing like a rebeat and you can react to the rebeat here, and then you can jump and get out, or if you're Saber, you just do this and then you get a punish, right? But that's on reaction, that's not a fuzzy timing. Fuzzy block though is actually pretty good. So fuzzy block just means, just like the other fuzzy options, you do things at delayed timing. So take for example Saber Rekka. She has a low Rekka and then an overhead Rekka, right? But she can actually mix up this overhead Rekka by doing a 2-hit low and then doing a 2C. So it's like, oh my god, that's a 50-50. Well, it's actually not, because the 2C hits at a different timing than the overhead. So that's the overhead version. And you can see how much slower the low is than the overhead. And because of that, you just block overhead for a little bit and then you block low. Pretty simple. See if we can block this. So you see how I stood up there for a little bit and then I blocked low. So no reaction required. And you see how I blocked the overhead. So the overhead itself's not blockable on reaction, but because I'm just timing my blocks to cover both options, I block the 50-50, right? And just FYI, you know, Saber does have a way to blow this up. You just go like a super delayed overhead, right? So you see how much you can delay the overhead? You just delay it to the max. It also carries some risk because now they can mash it and then you just die, right? So you have to show them the layer 1, which is that, hey, I can fuzzy block, and then the Saber has to take more risks like delaying the Rekka and whatnot to start to mix you up. All right, let's talk about anti-shield OSs, right? You know, as everyone knows, if you hit a shield on block, you have a few different options, right? You can regular quick shield, you can delayed shield, you can also just do shield nothing, you can also shield BC. Have you ever been in a match where you tried to shield right away and it didn't come out? Because it happens to me all the time. Because you don't expect the opponent to shield, and then you just don't react in time for their A launcher, because A launchers are pretty fast, right? So there's an option select that actually lets you deal with it. Very similar to the 2AB option select, but instead of just tapping D, you actually just hold D. And so what this does is you can literally do your whole block string while holding the D button. So I held the D button that whole time in the block string, and then when the shield comes out, you see how they shield back immediately, right? So it doesn't require any effort from you to react, because the shield just comes out automatically. Obviously you don't want to do this all the time, because like I'll just always do the B follow-up, right, to beat your immediate shield. But it's a really strong option. The reason it's a really strong option is because immediate shield tap, assuming you get on the first frame, you actually don't get counter hit, right? So it's really important to get the shield out on the first frame so you don't get counter hit at higher moon gauges. It basically makes it one of the strongest shield options. But let's say I mistime it, then that happens, right? So if you're just a little bit off on your timing, on your reactions, you can get fataled for trying to do the right thing, right? So very safe option is just to hold D in your block strings, and then you can automatically shield back if they shield you. For you guys playing on pad, I normally play on stick. I feel like this would be 100 times easier if I played on stick, but I play on pad. So what I've been doing is I have the throw macro to the L2 button, and I just hold down the throw macro instead. It doesn't make it so you have to do like these weird inputs on the face, but just something to try out. You can also do the same thing with BC in block strings. Remember, you have a shield follow-up. That's this, right? It's actually pretty good because you basically get out for free. So some characters can punish the opponent if they do the A follow-up to shield after BC, right? So getting out immediately gives you a better punish. You can also option select by just holding BC in your block strings. As you can imagine, most of your block strings use BC, and if you hold down the buttons, it's kind of hard as opposed to shield. So it has limited application, but a situation I'll use it in is after like a safe jump. I have the opponent to basically hold C and then hold the BC down. And as you can see on this, they'll do the BC follow-up, but on block, nothing comes out. Do your jump in normal and then hold BC after. Also works on grounded strings too. So for example, something like that will also option select into shield. As you can see, also pretty good, but a little harder to implement that, and also costs half moon gauge, so it's pretty expensive. But I think as people become more familiar with the game, I think this is one of the OSs that people are going to start to use more, because it requires less mental effort to react to shield immediately. Let's talk about throw tech OSs. There's a lot of different throw tech OSs in this game. Here's a post from literally, I think like day 1 of Melty Blood. There's 5 different known throw tech OSs, right? Fuzzy Mash, Backdash, Heat, Moondrive, Moonskill. You might be wondering, wait, why can't I OS with Shield? We'll talk about that afterwards. So some of these I don't think are very useful. Moondrive throw tech is really risky because you have to go to neutral, and just in general, like wiggling out of neutral inputs pretty bad, and you can also just mash Moondrive like on wake up anyways. Let's look at what some of these OSs look like, right? So this is the first OS. For a fuzzy mash, you have to slightly delay the throw tech exactly by 2 frames here, so that's why this is saying that. And it also will tech the throw, right? This OS is actually pretty good. I think this is one of the better ones. I think it's also one of the harder ones to do because you have to delay. I think the Backdash OS is also okay. You're literally just doing throw tech and then backdash. But again, the same issue is like, why not just immediately backdash? Not really a big fan of this OS either. Same thing with the Heat throw tech OS. This does work. If you press literally 1 ABCD, this will tech throws. Just so you know I'm not making up shit, right? But the issue is, let's say I do this OS. Now you get a delayed heat, and now you get shielded for free, right? So yeah, a lot of these OSs aren't actually that good. I just kind of wanted to throw them in here for completion's sake. I think the best OS is actually the last one here, which is the Moonskill throw tech. When you're in Moondrive, people actually want to throw you on wake up because most Moonskills lose to wake up throw. They don't have invincibility, they have armor, right? So a good strategy is you just do a delayed Moonskill. You're holding 1, you press BC, and then you hit throw. And then obviously the throw tech will tech the throw, and then the Moonskill will come out if you aren't in block stun, or that they don't grab you, right? Let's see what this looks like. You see how on block, nothing comes out. On grab, this happens. And then let's see, I'm waiting. I get bopped in the head, right? So I think this OS is really good if you have a moon skill that works with the one input. Not every character does, I don't think, but Saber does, thankfully, so it's pretty good for her. Oh yeah, so the last OS you might be wondering, why don't I just do Shield OS? Shield's a really strong option, and then I just hide a throw behind it. It actually doesn't work. Why it doesn't work, I'm not sure. I think they might have like hard-coded it in the game. It's actually a really common misconception. Everyone thinks Shield OS works. It doesn't work, so don't try it. The way they coded it, they actually let you do a Kara shield and a throw. Kind of weird, right? So it means that if you do immediate shield and then you hit a grab, your shield actually comes out for 2 frames. It's really hard to see. It's really hard to do, but you can technically shield stuff like this. So you saw how the grab came out, right? There's like a 2-frame window. But as you can see, you can actually shield and hit stuff with no risk of the shield actually coming out. So that's actually pretty good. I think in theory, like you could do this to like negate wake up mashing or like negate wake up DPs, but because there's only a 2-frame window and the timing's like literally frame perfect, I don't know how much people are actually going to be using this. But maybe like in 20XX when people are fully optimized, they'll be using this tech, but it's very hard to implement. In theory, it's really good. If you're a theory crafter and you want to take Melty to the highest level, you could learn this. I'm not implementing in my matches. I'm like an OS lord, so if you're trying to decide on what OS to use first, it probably shouldn't be that one, though it looks really good on paper. There's probably potential with this one. Just a couple more OSs to go. We have this Moondrive OS. So technically you can OS Moondrive. It's like just your typical hit stop OS. The clash causes more hit stun, which lets you do something else. So in this situation, you can't see the inputs, but I'll show you. You see how the shield comes out there. But on block, you just get A into B. That's because the clash ate the B input, allowing you to just get the shield. And you can of course like disguise your shield input as well. Yeah, so it looks like that. And what the inputs are, it's literally A, B, and then shield. The timing's really hard, and I haven't quite figured out the timing. So the way I do it is I'll do like A, B, and then mash the shit out of shield like that. You see how I like literally hit shield 4 times? For whatever reason, it's more consistent. So let me show you what that looks like. And even then, like, it's still like pretty inconsistent. And this only works against reversals that are slow enough to get the shield out. So for example, something like Shiki 3BC, his reversal is really fast and the shield won't come out. Even if you jump cancel shield, it won't work. Jump cancel shield is probably easier, honestly, but it's harder to OS because if they happen to get hit, you get this and then you can just literally die for it, right? So you can't actually jump shield OS, but if you're looking to react, you just jump and shield. It's easier to do than just mashing shield, but they both do work. And if you want to OS it, which I think there is merit into doing, I'm still debating if I want to do it myself, you can use this option. And speaking of jump cancel OSs, as you can see, this works on hit. Is there a way to take advantage of this? Well, yeah, actually you can. So take for example, Saber's charge C. It's kind of hard to hit confirm after something like a rebeat. So is there a way to hit confirm? Well, yeah, actually, I can use the jump cancel OS. And so what I'm doing here is because charge C is jump cancelable, I hold charge C and then I press 9 AB at the same time, which gives me an air dash on hit. And then I press JA. And you see how that combos, and you can literally get a full combo from this. Pretty cool stuff, right? Let's take a look at what this looks like on guard. So you see how the B came out because I can't actually jump cancel on block. So your characters might have pretty similar application, but it's a pretty useful tool. I don't like doing too much charge C because I feel like that's just shield bait, but still a really good option to frame trap and whatnot. Check it out with your character, see if there's any application. And so I think that covers it for OSs. I want to cover a couple different things that are not actually option selects and people think they are. Specifically when it comes to Moondrive. So a very common strategy is like someone will Moondrive and then they'll mash throw. And if you're neutral, one thing I like to do is I'll do 5A and then OS. That's not actually an OS because Moon Drive is -2 when you're neutral. My jab beats you, and then I activate Moon Drive. There's no OS there. It doesn't matter what the opponent does, the Moon Drive always comes out. So not an OS. There's also the the redacted tech, right? Which is you just activate a delayed Moon Drive to phase through the throw. You see how the throw whisks, right? And then you get punished. That's not an option select either. You're literally, it doesn't matter what the opponent does, your Moon Drive is going to come out. Just FYI, don't call that an option select. So yeah, that's it, guys. I know that is a lot of information, and like I said, I think when you start to try to play this game at tournament level, or let's say like you're playing ranked and you get up to like the A or S ranks, you should probably be using this tech, specifically the Shield OS, and then start to implement stuff like fuzzy options too. What I recommend, learn the Heat Shield OS first, then obviously learn the fuzzy options too. Fuzzy options are going to work for any fighting game, so you need to learn how to use them very effectively. After that, you know, honestly, I'd recommend learning the Shield OS, like holding D down in some of your block strings if you can't react to shield properly. Also consider playing around with some of these option selects, right? Maybe you'll find some uses that I haven't found for them. I'm sure there are some throw tech OSs such as like delayed jab throws or the moon skill throw OSs that I think are going to have some use at high level play. We just need to give it more time, right? And yeah, play around with it, see what you get. I think it's just very important to inform yourself of all these option selects to, you know, give yourself all the tools you can to succeed, right? So with that being said, if you enjoyed the content, please consider like, sharing, and subscribing. Really helps out the channel and lets me make more videos like this. Also, I do stream on Twitch, so if you're looking to see some high level play and also ask me some questions or anything like that, I do stream on Twitch every Wednesday and Friday, and then also I stream like tournament runs or special events, that sort of thing. So link in the description below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day.